Hello again, it's Noob, and yeah, this is some rose Damascus billet. It's pretty thin, it's about 4 millimeters, and it's about 10 centimeters in length. And I've always wanted a Damascus steel handled lockpick. So I bought this and I was thinking, I could get two scales out of this, and I could do a pick in a very, I want to a similar design to this lockpick. This one is a tiny bit longer, but I reckon I can get something sort of similar in terms of profile. You can see that the scales would be roughly the same. I do the same sort of scalloping on the profile as well, and then I would do an acid etch on it to bring back that rose figuring that you see there. I just really want to have a go at it. For pick steel, I have some 23 thousandths of an inch 0.6 millimeter chromoly steel, and it's a good firm stainless, and I think it will complement this very, very well. I'll probably try to do this pinless. The reason being is that if I use something like JB weld in between the two scales, number one, it'll be way strong enough for any lock picking you want. The pick tip would fail way before the glue did. But two, it means that if and when I ever snap that lock pick, because all metal fatigues after a while, I should be able to recover the scales a lot more easy than if I put pins in them. Anyway, that's my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, let's just have a go, shall we? So first up, I have to cut that billet into two. I was using a angle grinder and it still was hard, very hard metal. And then obviously you have to take the burrs off the edges. Well, it just looks nice and it's safer to work with as well. And once I've done both, they actually look pretty nice at this point. Then I used the scale to mark out my pick metal, and again proportionately just draw on a hook shape in rough. I wanted it a bit longer, so I added a bit on at the end. This is sped up 6 times, but again, I like to just draw how I feel and do the handle just by eye. You can always shape it on the grinder afterwards, but a rough guide is all I want. Then I can sort of grind this off as I need. I quite like that one. And so much grinding, maybe even like 2 hours of grinding. So much quenching in between as well, which I'm not going to show you. And yeah, I could use a cut-off disc or some other grinding disc on an angle grinder, but I didn't want to risk over cutting. And even though this method is really slow, it is controlled, and I think that paid off in the end. But yeah, so much grinding. They look quite good though, don't they, those handles now? And once we finish those, then we have to go onto the pick, and this is sped up by 6 times. And it's a full tang pick, and so much quenching again, but just roughing it out. It doesn't have to be perfect at this stage because you want it flush with the two scales, the two shaped halves of the handle. And then onto the fine grinding wheel. Again, so much quenching and grinding you haven't seen here. And just carefully shape the shank and the hook until it's all looking really, really nice. And I think we can see what it looks like in 2 seconds. This is without filing at all, that's just on the grinding wheels. There you go. And then well clamped, just get the pick metal flush with the handle metal, and I use a bit of contact glue to keep them together while I did that, which is why in a minute you can see when I take it out of these clamps that it doesn't fall apart in my hand, just a little bit of glue in between. Then carefully just rounding or beveling off the edges so that it's not sharp in the hand, and it should look pretty smart after that. Then I took to just filing down the pick shank until it's the right height for myself, and then I use a half round on the tip as well, which I didn't show, but yeah, looking pretty nice. Then for the glue, I wore gloves this time. I didn't use JB Weld. The epoxy I was using, I trust it's really, really good. I roughed the handles up first. You just put lots on, and the pick steel itself, due to the thin shank, would fail before the glue did. And if any part of it failed, I could just pry off the scales and just put on a new pick, I guess. And there we go. So it was cured overnight, and once it was cured and all glued together, just had to remove any overglue on the sander, and just then sand either side as well. I also put some 1000 grit over it before I dipped it in the acid to etch. So here we are, finally finished. I etched it in a relatively weak acid for about an hour. After I took it down with the sandpaper to about 1000 grit, no more, because you get a better etch that way, I find. What's interesting is that the chromoly steel, you can just about see at some angles, but at others where you get the light in, you can't. It's actually quite a nice effect, and you can see it's sandwiched Damascus as well, because this was designed for making blades with, and so you've got a hardened core in the middle, I believe, and that obviously marks up differently. Very hard to actually get a photograph of this. It's actually better on camera, would you believe? Actually much better on camera. See, I've got a nice shine on the pick tip there, but yeah, it's better on camera because you can angle it to get the best sort of contrast for that wonderful rose. If you look down on the just softened edges, you can sort of see, can I get in there? Yeah, you see how the pattern rolls down onto the edges as well. And you know what? It's not that heavy. Genuinely, it's actually quite nice. It's probably one of the most beautiful picks I've ever made. I absolutely love this one. I'd love to know what you think in the comments, actually. It's hard to work with, that's for sure. This kind of steel, this thickness to grind it down. Maybe if I had a better workshop, maybe, I don't know, a few better tools like a bandsaw, you know, like a metal cutting bandsaw and those kind of things, it might be better. But I think I did alright, all things considered. And yeah, just nice to see. I quite like the stripes you get down there as well. They're all very even. Like I said, that sandwich Damascus with the chromoly steel in there. It's just every angle of this just looks just so nice. And I didn't want any sharp edges on it, but I wanted to keep it sort of angular, and I'm very pleased with the results on this. The only thing I didn't do, which I said I would, was to scallop this out slightly. And this is one of those occasions where sometimes when you have a good idea, what's even better is sometimes to know when to stop or not to implement it. And in this instance, I think I made the absolutely correct decision, because you just get a nicer edge profile. It's comfortable to hold as well, and you just get a better pattern, I think, than I would have done if I'd scalloped it out. I mean, that's what I think anyway, but yeah, I'm really glad I stopped when I did, and I'm super pleased with the results of this. I think it's lovely. Might give it a go, see if I can pick something with it. It's a nice short hook profile, so I went for a small keyway. It's got some nice spools in. Let's see what it feels like. The feedback should be epic on this, shouldn't it, really? Let's pipe in the lock. 2, well, 3, 2. Is that 1 here? Yeah, 1. Oh, we're open. God, wow, the feedback on that was insane. It's like so stiff. I mean, metal handles are a bit heavy compared to, say, plastic or wood, but yeah, they certainly make up for it in feedback. That was awesome. Anyway, look, I'm really proud of that one. I'm going to just put a bit more polish on the tip now. I've got more greasy fingers all over it. But yeah, I hope you really like that, and maybe even think about having a go yourself. It's certainly, I think, worth the effort, although it does take quite a lot longer to work than wood, plastic, or G10, things like that. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It always helps me out, and I'll see you all next time.